Hey guys, what's going on? So today I'm going to anodize a lower, the lower that I've been working on. Okay, so the lower that I milled out, that I electro etched, and now I'm going to anodize it. And you can send your gun off or your lower off, whatever, to different places to be anodized. I'm not exactly sure of the total cost involved in that, but to me, if I'm going to do it very often at all, and I'm not, this is only the second one that I've ever done. And I don't remember the exact steps that I did the first time. But if you're going to do this stuff, it's really not that hard to do it at home and to do it by yourself and just to get the stuff. If you have the stuff to anodise, or if you have the tools, really just a battery charger, to electro etch, then you have the tools to anodize as well. And it's really not that hard. You're not going to get like the military spec anodizing, the hard code anodizing with the finishes and all that kind of stuff, but you can get a good anodize, a good color, so it's not just a raw metal. And even if you're going to go ahead and coat it or paint it or whatever you're going to do, if it's anodized, it's going to work a little bit better because you can dye the metal in the process, and it just works a little bit better. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. This is just personal experience kind of stuff. But we're gonna go ahead. The first thing that we did with the lower is we washed it with some Dawn dish soap just to get some of the oils off and some of the polishing compound. I didn't really polish it, but I sanded it just to get some of the splatter from the electro etching off. Right now I have it sitting in acetone down in there. So sit in acetone, just kind of getting the rest of the oils and all that stuff off of it. We'll take it out of there in a second. We'll rinse it off with some clean water. Spray it down with some simple green, rinse it off again, put it back in the acetone, and then we're going to put it in, where did it go? I think it's this stuff. Yeah, Crystal Drain Cleaner. Alright, you go to the hardware store or wherever and you buy all this stuff, they'll probably think you're trying to make a bomb or something, but 100% lye. Alright, and basically my understanding of it, this will eat away any contaminant. See, quote me or correct me if I'm wrong, if any of y'all know better than I do. This is going to take away a lot of if it's anodized at all, it's going to strip away that anodizing, strip away that layer, strip away anything that's not aluminum. It's going to basically, it's like a prep for anodizing. Okay, and then I have it in the freezer right now chilling, but I have some from before. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but this battery acid. All right, so your sulfuric acid, you need some of that. And basically, those are your main materials. You need battery acid to do the anodizing. You're going to need battery acid, distilled water. Those are really your chemicals. You want some baking soda on hand to neutralize any spills or anything like that. But we'll walk you through the process that I use. Try to keep it interesting. Try not to be completely boring. But anyway, right now I'm going to finish cleaning this guy off, and then I'm going to set up the tank. And I'll show you what I do with that. Making a lot of bubbles. And that should be stripping away anything that's on there. Okay, so at this point we have the lower sitting in lye, and that should be stripping away anything that's on there. You can see the bubbles and everything, and it's just stripping all that stuff off. We're going to leave it in there for a couple minutes. We'll rinse it off, and then it will go into the acid bath. We'll leave it in the acid bath. I've read and heard other people say the same thing, that you can leave it in there from 20 minutes to an hour. I think my lower I did last time. Okay, can you shut the door? I think the lower I did last time was like 2 hours or something like that. I just way overkilled it and left it in there. So this might be the same thing. I'll leave it in there for a good little while, and I don't know. I don't think you can go too much for the stuff that I have, because I can't. Highest I can get is 12 volt 6 amps or 12 volt 2 amps. I don't remember. I can't get it that high anyway. So I'll just show you. We'll continue on the GoPro, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, So to recap, basically we have the lower that has been stripped with lye. It's been washed off, just with not denatured alcohol, with distilled water, and now we have it sitting in our bucket. And in our bucket, we have 50-50 hydrochloric acid and distilled water. We have an aluminum. I forget if it's the anode or whatever you want to call it, but the aluminum piece with the negative hooked up to it. The positive piece is an aluminum wire, came from a coat, and it plugs into the lower down here. Plugs into where the pistol grip screws into, so it's a very good secure connection. And that's the positive side. I should confirm, I'm going to confirm whether or not it's supposed to be the positive or negative, or if it makes a difference. I don't remember. But then we have this all sitting in ice, because one of the main things that I understand is you want to keep this cool, like in a 70-ish degrees. And with it in ice, it's going to keep it cooler, obviously. That's why you put it in ice. But when I turn the charger on, it's going to warm up. As the process goes, it will warm up. And you don't want it to get too hot, or it won't be a good anodization. Okay? So we're going to turn this thing on. I got the GoPro set up. We're going to do a time-lapse thing like always. I'm going to shut up because it's going to be obvious what happens. But that's what's going to go. We're going to probably do it for about an hour. I have some other projects I got to work on. We're going to let it go while I do that. Hopefully, it'll work. And we'll see what happens in the next phase. Okay, so that took about 3.5 hours. It was a long time. And as you see right here, I turned off the battery charger. And I looked at it real quick, and it looks good. It's kind of got a grayish hue to it. So it's definitely done something. I have no way to test the anodization, whatever, to see how well it worked really. But basically what we do is we have distilled water. Move you over here a little bit. Whoop. And my GoPro got full because it's not made to record, or it is made to record for a long time, but if the I think the card got full, so I didn't get the whole thing, but it's gonna be sped up anyway. So I don't know exactly what point it shut off, but I'm gonna shake off as much of this sulfuric acid bath, and then I'm going to rinse it in nice distilled water. Okay. Try not to really splash myself. So at this point, it's okay. It's going to be pretty much washed out, good to go. And we should be good to go. And some people could leave it like this. Well, anybody could leave it like this if they really wanted to. I don't know why you would. Because right now, you have a perfect opportunity to color the lower. And I want to color it. Get that shaken off, maybe you can see. It's got a good color to it right now, just a metallic color. Everything held up very well. Looks like it turned out pretty good. So, now we're gonna run into the house and we're gonna color it. I'm gonna show you how. All right, so now we're inside. I have the lower, just brought it straight in from the garage. What we have in here is we're using RIT dye, RIT dye, RIT, whatever. And I have, from what I used before on my Mark 12, I have the same liquid, so it's kind of old, but it had black, and this stuff here is graphite. So I mixed them. So I'm just really trying to get a nice dark color. And really, you just set it right in there, and it's gonna soak up that color, hopefully, Lord willing. It did last time, so it should this time. And it's not boiling, it's warm. I think it's supposed to be like 140 degrees or something. I really don't know. Look at that already. It just soaks up that color. Soaked that up really good. All right, but we're gonna let it set in there for a little while. Kind of move it around. I'm not gonna let it set on one side by itself the whole time. We're gonna move it around a little bit. But that's basically what you do. Now's your time where you can do this. And once we're done with this, because like I said, this is about 140 degrees or something. I don't know. It's not boiling, but it's just to the point where it's warm. I wouldn't want to put my fingers in it because, for one thing, they get stained. But it's warm, and then once we're done with here, about 20 minutes I think is what they say, we're going to put it in boiling water for a little bit longer. I'm going to look up those times. I might annotate them, but I'll say what I did for sure. So if it works, then you know that it worked for somebody. If it doesn't work, then you know not to do what I did. But then we'll put it in this water. Basically, this water is just distilled water. It's going to be boiling, and it's basically going to seal up all the pores in the metal and lock in all that color. So there you go. So I'll show you the final product. I'm not going to bore you to death at this part, so I'll show you the final product when we're done. Alright, so we're going to do this. Ouch. That hurt. We're going to do this one as well. This is an upper that I got a little while back ago, and we're just going to do the same process, same thing. So we have lye in this bucket down here. Some of this stuff, this Robo, whatever, this stuff. But the main thing is that it's 100% lye. That's what you want, the 100% lye. That's what you want. So we're going to put that in here. And there's not enough to fill it up. I didn't measure right. I'm going to put some more of that in there. There we go. And again, what that's going to do is it's going to help break down any coatings that are on here. Make sure that it is not anodized. You can't re-anodize. My understanding of it, you can't anodize a part that's already anodized. It doesn't work very well. And we're going to add a little bit more of this stuff. A little bit left in there, not much. And we're just going to mix it in. And it needs to start bubbling, and that's kind of when you know that it's really kind of working. I probably should be wearing a face mask and gloves, and I'm not. I probably should be. But there we go. Now it's bubbling. Now it's doing its thing. I'll show you. There we go. You can see that. There we go. This stuff here is just the blood coming off this pole. That's just the dye. Because I'm still boiling the lower. I'm going to use the same color and all that kind of stuff. But this just needs to sit in here for a minute. Make sure we get all that stuff off. Yeah, see, that's good. But it been sitting out. Really, I didn't clean this that much either. Probably should have. I just did a simple clean. So we may end up dipping this in some acetone as well. No, I don't think it'd do any good now. We'll run with it as is, and this will just be a good test to see what happens if you use lye, if that will strip everything off, any oils or everything, because it's never really been put together with anything before. So the only oils it picked up was stuff from my fingers or from things that it touched in the safe or on the bench or whatever. So maybe we'll leave it in there for a little bit longer. I almost wish it'd stay that color. That's kind of a cool looking thing, but we'll let it sit in there for a little bit longer. I think you only needed it to be in there for about 2 minutes, but I don't know. We'll let it sit there, and then we'll actually, while it sits in there, we're gonna go grab because it's been about 13 minutes since we put that the lower in the coloring bath. So we may run over and put that in the boiling water because it needs to boil for 30 minutes and then it will be done. By that time this thing will be done. I'm not going to leave it in for 30 minutes. I think it'd dissolve or something. But yeah. See, that's really working. Working good. Working real good. Alright. We'll let it sit there for a little bit. Alright. Alright, so this water was boiling, and then I realized it didn't have enough water in it, so I had to raise the water level. So it's going to boil here in a minute, but we're going to go ahead and do this. So we've got that upper sitting in that lye out in the garage, and I don't want to sit there for too long. So basically, we're going to try to pick this thing up without making a huge mess with a pencil, or whatever you're going to use. Doesn't have to be a pencil at all. Yeah, there we go. Try to drain everything out of it. Okay. And then it's going to go straight from here into what should be boiling water. There we go. Tip that guy over. we go. And now it should boil for about 30 minutes. And we'll go check on that upper out in the garage. Turn this guy off. This guy should boil for about 30 minutes. We'll go check on that upper in the garage. Okay, so this is setting to lie probably a little bit too long. You're not supposed to breathe that stuff. But it's in there. Looks good. We're done. Okay. Yeah, really should not breathe that. We're going to rinse this off. You can. Let's see. There we go. Rinse this off. Distilled water. Little nooks and crannies. Alright.
I'm putting my boots on.
Okay, baby. Go. Now this is unplugged. Yes.
I was gonna get out there.
Bring you over here. I can show you. Again, we're doing the same thing. This is the same water, same solution. See, that even looks like a good dark color in and of itself. I don't know what this would last, or if this would last, but I don't know.
Stay close. The bad dog's here now. Woo.
I dropped it in there and it got unstuck, so I don't like that.
I'm so coldy.
You can go inside, baby. I really don't want to touch it. That's why you should be wearing gloves. There we go. There we go. That gotta work. Okay. I think that will work. If we're to do that, doesn't leave much room for error. That's the only problem. Need a little bit of room for error. What I mean is these cannot be touching. If these touch, they're going to spark an arc. We don't want that to happen. And they're not touching, but they're very close. You got to keep in mind, this is not water. There's water in here, but this is a sulfuric acid bath. So even though it looks harmless, you do not want to touch that stuff. Okay, I think we're good right there. Nothing's touching. I think we're good. Maybe you can see in there. I'm trying to dip you in my acid or anything. Watch my phone fall in, that'd be about right. Okay, so now we're going to turn it on, and it's set to 12 volt 6 amps. Hopefully we don't throw a breaker. This guy. Okay. Here we go. Ready?
I'm ready. Ready, Daddy.
So it's making bubbles.
Yeah.
I think it's doing its thing. I think. It was doing this last time and I moved it and it sparked. Scared the snot out of me. But then it started bubbling a little bit better. But in reality, I think this is working. I think this is working. So we're going to let it set like this and see what happens. And we'll let it go for probably only about an hour and a half or 2 hours. Alright guys, so the final verdict is pay attention to detail and don't skip steps. Case in point, the lower turned out very well, I believe, okay? I don't really particularly like the glossy finish. I think part of that has to do with the anodizing. This is what, like a type 1. This is the lowest level of anodizing where it is anodized, okay? But it's not super deep, and you don't get that semi, I don't know, there's something about like the really good anodizations that just have almost a texture to it, just ever so slightly, but it's not glossy like this, okay? Like, here's a, who is this? This is a Palmetto State one. It's got oil on it, but you can tell the difference. It's kind of almost got a grayish kind of thing to it. I don't know, but I like this for this. This worked out really well. Made the etchings and all that kind of stuff pop out a little bit. I think it worked. I think it worked really well. Really like it. And I put a lot of prep work into this. I sanded it with, I don't remember, I don't know what those were, 350 or something, I don't know. Pretty fine, not a coarse, but a fine, and then a pretty fine sandpaper, just to knock everything down and smooth it out, which is probably partially why it's kind of glossy. But that worked, and the color is pretty uniform. It's still got like fingerprints and whatnot and stuff on it, but pretty uniform, pretty good for what it is. The other one, the upper, basically I forgot to do a bunch of prep work because I was painting a rifle today, and doing the anodizing and watching a baby, or not a baby, but a toddler, and doing a bunch of other stuff, and I forgot to do the whole cleaning and all the stuff on here. And I don't know how well it's going to pick it up, but it looks pretty crappy. This is going to work for me because I really don't care, and I'll build some kind of gun on it and work it, and it'll be fine. It'll work for me. I don't care. But this is not something you would ever pay much of any kind of money for. Okay, it has all that rainbowy, that's the word I was looking for in another video, but kind of a rainbowy, just messed up looking finish to it. It just did not take the color very well. Part of that, I blame a lot of that on just the lack of any kind of real prep work. And the other part was that my dye bath boiled for a little while and kind of boiled down, and it may have messed up the coloring. Can't imagine it messed it up that bad because it's black. I would think it'd just make it get darker, but I don't know. It boiled down, I put more water in it and raised it back up, but I don't know. I can't blame it all on that, but I would blame a lot of it on prep work, because you can look in there. I don't know. You can look like in there. I don't know what that is. Yeah, you can kind of pick it up, the little lighter spot. There's just some spots, and like on the insides of the rails. I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well or not, but it did not seep in there like it did on the other one, like on this guy. And when I did the Mark 12, when I did that lower, it turned out pretty good. But overall, do your prep work and it works. And that RIT, whatever it's called, R-I-T, that dye, I think it works fine. On the Mark 12, it's held up pretty well. This was the same bath. I think I explained that earlier. It's the same bath, dye bath that I used for the Mark 12, but then I poured another bottle of graphite, and I think the graphite kind of helped fill in some of the darker shades, and just kind of helped darken it all up, because this lower turned out very well. If you match it up to a mil-spec upper, it clashes. It does clash, okay? Because like I said before, these mil-spec kind of uppers have a grayish, different kind of anodizing, and these have another kind of anodizing on it, so it kind of messes with the color, but that's okay. That's okay, because the alternative would be to buy a FN marked lower, which is going to cost a lot of money, and I could have just gone out and bought the whole M16A4 like I'm wanting to build, from FN, and spent what, like $1,600? I think that's what I think. Don't quote me on that. It may not be 16, maybe more like 12 or 1,500. I don't know, but it's about $1,500, give or take. And I think I'm sitting pretty good with this one here. So next video with this will hopefully be me building the completed rifle because I accidentally had it shipped to the wrong place because Palmetto State took forever in a year on Black Friday to ship anything. So anyway, so I hope that was kind of helpful. Just again, just kind of an overview again. And I hope I probably repeated a lot of stuff, but just some high points on your acid bath. It's a 1-to-1 ratio that I used, and I think it worked out really well for these. I don't think I took any still pictures, but I got it in the video. I mean, it does anodize it. Okay, it has a grayish hue to it and everything like that. It definitely anodizes it. That's for sure. I used 12 volt 6 amps the whole time. This guy set for about 3.5 hours. That was a long stinking time, and maybe again that could be why this worked better. Excuse me. And this guy did not work so good because this guy was only in there for about an hour. I think it was about an hour. Set him in the dye bath for about, I don't know if it was like 20 minutes or 30 minutes or something. Not ridiculously too long, but I mean, you really want the color to seep in there. It soaks up pretty fast. It's pretty cool. It's like a sponge. Put it in there, and you take it out, and you can see it kind of changing colors. Kind of cool. And then what was the other thing? Boil it for 30 minutes in distilled water. All right, and that just kind of helps seal in all the color and keep it nice and good looking. Let's see. Make sure you have plenty of baking soda on hand. I went ahead and bought. It's down there. You can see maybe chair's in the way. Right there. Whoop, right there. A bag of baking soda just to neutralize any spills. And stupid me, when I went to go pull out the upper, I pulled it out and I was fishing around in there and I grabbed the wire thing that I had holding on to it. And I didn't feel it myself get burned or anything, but I know I touched liquid, and I know that liquid is a 50-50 acid and water bath. So I just rubbed some baking soda on there real quick, and I didn't feel anything. It didn't fizzle or anything. I'm trying to think. Try to keep it cool. The acid bath, try to keep that cool. That's why I put ice around it and stuff like that. Some people put bubblers in there to help agitate the water. I think that's a good idea. I just didn't go to the trouble to do all that. I'm trying to think. Just make sure you have everything clean. That could be something too. I think it was with the upper. I'm trying to pinpoint why this upper got so jacked up. Ugh. But I think whenever I put it in that lye to strip it, I know I rinsed it off, but when I put it in the acid bath, I think it bubbled a lot before I even turned on the power, and that may have fudged with something, I don't know. So make sure for sure that you clean it. And with the lower, again, I'm probably repeating myself, but I soaked it in acetone, make sure I got all that off. I rinsed it with distilled water. I washed it off with clean green or simple green. I washed it off with some of that, put it again in distilled water, and then I put it in that lye bath for a couple minutes, took it out, distilled water, made sure it was all cleaned off again, and then back into the, actually I think the first step I'd use Dawn dish soap. See, I even get confused. The main thing is to get it super clean. You don't want anything on here, and you want it stripped. And then the last thing is you want to make sure that there's nothing else on there. None of your cleaner or anything with that distilled water to clean it all off, and then put it in your acid. Anyway, there are articles out there that explain this better. There's other people who do videos on this that I'm sure are way better than this. But I hope it opens to people's eyes, because you can get these lowers for like it's not right to bear. Where is it? I'll annotate it. It'll be in the link of where you can get these, and they go on sale. And they've been on sale like all year, and then I went to buy this and it was like $30 or something like that. But they've been on sale for about $26, and you can get in Anderson. I used to buy Andersons a lot when I had my FFL. And they were on sale. They'd be on sale for about $27.99 or whatever, about $30. But if you can get these cheap, okay, the 80% for $25, $26 or whatever, buy a couple of them, save on shipping a little bit or whatever, and get them below $30, then it really doesn't cost that much. The acid costs $15. the lie, I don't remember how much that stuff costs, but most people have some kind of power supply, you know, and that's your main things that you need. All right, and so in being able to do that and anodize your own, even though it may not look mil spec or whatever, you know, it doesn't have that grayish finish to it. It's just one of those things that for people that are going to get this, they're going to understand. It's a cool thing to be able to do it yourself. All right. Yes, you can spend money and go buy XYZ product, and it'd be great and it's fantastic. It's the best. Or you can build it and it's substandard quality because you haven't been doing it for, you know, 300 years or whatever. But you still built it. It still works. It still functions, and it's still something that you can properly use and enjoy using and have the pride of knowing that, yes, I built this. This is my gun. It's one of those things. Anyway, hope that was helpful. I hope I didn't drag on and lose all of you and put you all to sleep. If this does put you to sleep, put it on when you go to bed, and maybe you'll dream about making guns or something like that. Or you'll have nightmares. I would probably have nightmares. Timer's going off, which means something else is done, so I am going to sign out. So I appreciate y'all watching. I really, really do. Appreciate your support, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Y'all be good. Be safe.